Hello everybody, this is Mr. DSI Review, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys a review of a Virtual Console Game Boy game. It's Mario's Picross, which was released for the regular Game Boy in 1995. But before I actually start with the review, I'd like to mention two things. First off, I'm sorry for this being a few days later than it should have been. I was abnormally busy throughout the actual week. And the second thing I'd like to mention is that I'm now part of a network called Console Alliance, with their sites consolealliance.com and consolealliance.net. It's still getting finalized, but I should start posting some videos and basically just my videos there. So just a quick shout out to them, just so you guys know. Anyway, onwards with the review. So like I said, it's on the Game Boy, and it's a puzzle game. It's Mario themed, but really Mario doesn't have much to do with it. And what Picross is there's a grid, and beside the grid are numbers. I'll pick a puzzle, maybe this one would be good. And you'll notice beside the grid here there are numbers. And those numbers determine how many blocks, filled-in blocks, are in that row. So 10, since this is only a 10 by 10 grid, I know this entire row has to be filled. But let's say something like this. This is 2 and 2. That means I know there's going to be a chunk of 2 blocks somewhere. And then separate from that is going to be another chunk of 2 blocks. So it's kind of logic-based. I know it's not exactly like Sudoku, but in a few ways it reminds me of it. And I am rather a fan of Sudoku, so, it's kind of up my alley. Like I said, you use logic to solve things, so I see here that there's a row of 3 blocks, and I know since this block is filled in, and since there's only one row of 3, these two next to it have to be filled in. You fill the blocks in with A, and you move around with the circle pad or the D-pad, and if you press B, then you can mark blocks with a small X. So that's how you can use that to mark off blocks that you know don't have anything in them, or maybe you can mark off blocks that potentially have something in them, really whatever you want to use it for. So for example here, since I know it's a 161, at the very end it absolutely has to be the 1. I should mention that the numbers it has are in order. So if it's 611, it's not like there's, the 6 could be anywhere. That means the 6 would be first. So I know since these 2 rows end in 1, these 2 can't possibly be anything, and then that leaves 8 blocks there. However, if I take 1 block, 1 space, and then 6 more blocks, that adds up to 8. So that means this is going to have to be a block, so it'll have to be empty, and then these remaining 6 are all going to be filled. Same if I look at the top, I know that this one ends in a 1, ends in a 1, ends in a 1, and so on. This is a 3, so I can mark off this row, and this is a 1. This is a 2, so I know it's going to be filled here. Since there's only 5 left, and the remaining thing in the row is a 5, I know those all have to be filled. Here, I know this is going to be a 2, and then everything else in the row will be empty. Same thing with that. And this puzzle seems to be symmetrical, actually. So, sometimes that's helpful. Not all the puzzles are symmetrical, obviously, but some are. Since this is a 4, I know that's got to be blocked off, and then there are 2 1s in it. So these are going to have to be 1s. That finishes up this row and this row, or rather these columns. That only leaves these 2 to be filled. I know this can't be anything, since these are just 1-1 rows, they can't be anything. And then, only these 2 blocks are left. And there we go, finished the puzzle. And it's a flask. So, there are all these easy puzzles here, and it started out really small, 5 by 5 and incredibly simple. I think I don't know if there are any 15 by 15 easy ones. You can also get a hint which reveals 1 row and 1 column. And then there's also regular Picross, what it calls, and there's Kinoko and Star. They're all 15 by 15, and these are moderately challenging, and once you complete all of these, you unlock Star, which are much more challenging Picross. So there's actually quite a bit of content. I've sunk a surprising amount of hours into this game. Usually I'll play it, I can't remember what's the longest stretch of time I've played this game for, maybe half an hour or an hour. But I'll just pick it up here and there, do maybe 2 puzzles, and then move on or whatever. It's a great time killer, and like I said, I've sunk quite a bit of time into it. Maybe 6 or 7 hours so far. I personally like it a lot. If I do recall, it cost $4, and I'd say that it's certainly worth it if you like this kind of game. I mean, if puzzle games just don't do it for you, then, you know, it's not going to be a game for you. It can't really be judged by its graphics too much, you know, being a puzzle game, but the sounds that it does have aren't annoying, and, you know, they're not so bad as to keep it boring if they were quiet. So the sounds are nice in that sense. Like I said, there's a ton of content for such a, you know, cheap game, and I certainly do recommend it if you like puzzle games of this type. Anyway, I suppose that's about it. So if you like this video, then please rate, comment, subscribe. Check out the written review on my website. And I will see you guys next time.